This is Avante Kendo. He has autism. In October of last year in Queens, New York, he was at school with his teacher, a caregiver, and 11 other students walking down a stairwell. It was at the end of the line, so it was easy for him to break away. He's a very curious boy, so he goes all the way down to the bottom floor, pops his head outside of the door, and he sees the security guard talking to a student. So he puts his hand in his pocket, and he just walks right past the security guard. The security guard didn't even see him. He walks out the door. And what followed next is very tragic. It took 18 minutes for the teachers and the administrators to realize that he was gone. They didn't know if he was in the building or if he left the school grounds. They waited an hour before they contacted the police. And then they started the search beyond the actual school grounds. 3 months later, they found his remains in a river in New York. The reality is that this sparked the attention of Senator Chuck Schumer, and he created what's called Avante's Law. And Avante's Law introduced some legislation to address wandering within the schools and allocated about $10 million a year in annual funding to purchase tracking devices to protect children with disabilities. Looking at the market today, there are 12.8% of students that attend school today that have disabilities. And there's 6.4 million of these students go in and out of the classroom throughout the day to attend different services. And there are 443,000 special education teachers that are out there today watching students like the Kendo. We need to protect these people. So our solution is Lighthouse. Our purpose is to keep children safe at school. Lighthouse is a smart solution for special needs teachers and students. It provides confidence that they're with the right people and alerts you when they're not. A device is actually attached to the student, which uniquely identifies them to the teacher. The teacher uses the Lighthouse app to keep track of their students. So the value we really want to provide is promote safety of the special needs students, increase the accountability amongst the faculty and caretakers, increase the trust between the parents and the school system, and reduce the response time when an incident occurs. Something like this could have prevented the Avante situation. When we look at how we want to get this inside of the schools, we believe that a complete solution makes the most sense. But we're a software company, we don't provide hardware. So we actually believe that working with companies that are value-added resellers, they can provide services like installation and support. Looking at how to monetize this, we sell the complete solution to the schools, let the integrators deal with the everyday support issues. We actually do some validation talking about this with some teachers. They actually see that there is a real need, and this is something that needs to be addressed with inside the school system. When we look at the minimum viable product, what's required, we think there are three key questions. Where are they? Are they with the right people? And do they need help? So we're going to do a demo really quick. Show you Lighthouse in action. So right now, I'm a teacher, and I open up the Lighthouse app. And the Lighthouse app is going to identify the students that are with me right now. I'm Dr. Pasceri. Oh, we lost one already. Okay, so okay. This is not the way. Yeah, it is a live demo. So the students are with me right now, and so now Dr. Griffin's going to come on over, and he's going to pick up the students.
I'm Dr. Griffin, the speech therapist.
And now the last student that's with me, you notice that it'll actually update and show that they're with Dr. Griffin, and one of them's with me. And if it just so happens that one of these students that's a runner decides to bolt out of the classroom, come on. Then we get the alert, and we can raise an alarm, and then every teacher can actually get notified that the student is missing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
so we thought a little bit about this, and the first thing we wanted to start with was just the cost of the devices. So just to share really quickly, these actually use iBeacon technology, Bluetooth Low Energy. And when you guys have a device, this is one of those beacon devices, and they cost anywhere from $5 all the way up to $50. So from a cost of goods perspective, we partner with the hardware companies, and they actually can set whatever price they want for the hardware. We believe in actually selling the services. So when we go to these value-added resellers, we talk to them, and we've talked about doing paying specifically for per student per month, or an actual site location as an upsell. So the actual number of devices and the app installs really isn't much of a big deal. It's more about how many students are actually tracking. Did that answer your question?
I think the app part of it looks great. I know that's what you're doing. I do have questions about kids actually keeping the device on them, particularly kids with sensory sensitivity. They might not want you to have you thought about that?
Yeah, so we actually talked to 11 teachers and a principal about this. We went back and forth. The suggestions were having a bracelet actually works really well, having a device that actually can attach to their sneaker, like on their shoelaces, something that can clip onto their belt. We realized that these devices could be lost or they could break, so we also want to make sure that this technology is super cheap. The competition, these devices are $100 a piece, and they don't actually help the teachers. It's just, I've got some GPS that the parent can actually track the kids.
Okay, two questions, I guess. So first, I'm not familiar with the legislation you referred to at the beginning, but clearly from a business perspective, being able to tie into something like that's a great hook. Yeah. So did that legislation actually mandate or allude to specific solutions to the problem? And then secondly, concerns that you might have, I guess, about the perceived risk in investors, especially since you're dealing with tracking high-value assets. I mean, to put it in business terms, so those are my two questions. Yeah, and whether or not that high risk will scare off potential investors.
Sorry, so can you repeat the first question again?
The first question was just about if you could just speak a few minutes about the legislation that you alluded to in the front and kind of how you plan to connect that up.
Sure, the summary of the legislation is called Vontae's Law, and basically what it does is it allows people to voluntarily buy devices that can use to track students with special needs inside the schools. They're provided through the authorities, so the parents or the teachers can reach out to the authorities and get that. So this really is just validating that there really is a need. It doesn't necessarily mean that that specific legislation will help with sales. It's more about, hey, look, we're validating that there is an actual problem. We actually believe that the solution that we have, it needs to be a complete solution. Like every student within that classroom that has a special needs to have this device, as well as the teacher to be able to receive it. Because these GPS devices that exist there today, it's actually a specific device for the specific student, for the parent, to identify them. And as you saw before, it took 18 minutes just for the teachers to even realize that they were not even in the room or nearby. So when we talk about liability, you're right. Like you don't get 100% safety and protection from this, because this uses technology that is super. It's about proximity. So it only works up to 210 feet for some of these devices. And so the idea is essentially, if they go past a certain vicinity or proximity, then an alert goes off. So if an abduction happens or something like that, the teachers will instantly know about it. So it's about that awareness.
Quick question, do you anticipate the customers being the parents or the schools?
That's a really good question. I've actually talked to both, and apparently parents that actually do have disabled or students with special needs, they're willing to pay out of pocket for this. But even if the parent did want to pay for it, we still believe that the entire classroom needs to have this capability to provide value for everybody, including the teachers. So going after the teacher is what we want to do.
Love the idea. Just a quick comment, because I'm almost out of time here. Become aware, if you haven't already, of the law in Florida that basically outlaws storing and tracking students, biometric data and RFID data, and also California's laws on data privacy, because that will impact what you do. Great idea.
Nice.